Oh my goodness, that is really beautiful. What a beautiful portrayal, story, and I loved your recitation of history. That is just terrific, and it really describes where we are today. But Mayor, I have one voice of protest to raise. You shouldn't be letting all these retirees in here. My God, they all look so good. They're a walking ad for retirement. Tom Regan, my original campaign manager in 1974, a long-time administrative assistant, counselor, guide, chair of the Board of Regents, University. Senator Ron Dicklitch, I see. Look at him. These guys all look at Doug Johnson. He looks 20 years younger. Herb Lampa, he looks another 20 years younger. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for that, though. I can't stand that. No term limits. And look around you. That road out, that's not 494. You're not confused at all. This is outside the Twin City Beltway. Even though there are people down there that don't think there's anything else in Minnesota beyond 494, we exist. And we have a right to our fair share of the Highway Trust Fund and of the Corps of Engineer programs. And I'm your chairman, and by damn, I'm bringing it home. Yeah, we waited a long time, Herbie. Talk to me about this thing. And Gary Lampa. There's Lampas everywhere you look, you know, they're all over the place. This is Finnish country up here. This and the East Two Rivers, the roadway and the East Two Rivers project deepening go back to 1896 when the first dredging took place on the river for economic development purposes, for floating logs and for commercial access to the community. And then in 1913, and then again in 1939. And now, over time, the river silted in, filled in, became unusable, roadway built over it. But as the mayor read from the newspaper of 1916, there was a spirit for growth and for economic development and for investment, and it's back again. And I just feel so fortunate that I'm in the right place to be able to do the right thing at the right time. Bringing together the federal highway funds. And in the Water Resources Development Act that passed the House just 2 weeks ago, the conference report, 381 to 40, we included authorization for dredging of the East Two Rivers to restore the 7-foot channel depth, to extend the development all the way, remove all the silt, restore the 40-foot channel width, and to do so without regard to the benefit cost analysis that might come forward, because that can be skewed against us. Well, why can you do that? Nice to be chairman. No one asks, you know. They don't complain. And as it turns out, this will meet the benefit cost analysis. As it turns out, we will have a $7 million project. But this program, this Water Resources Development Act, was delayed for 7 years in the House. I became chairman January 17th. The following week, we had a hearing on the bill, reviewed and revisited all the projects, 960 of them. We reported the bill from committee the following week. A week later, we brought it to the House floor. In 6 weeks, we had done what it took 7 years of stalling, kept that bill bottled up. And then it took the Senate another 2.5 months, and we had a conference. But in 6 months, we've done, in the House of Representatives, and now with the Democratic majority in the Senate, but it took 7 years to accomplish. Well, my committee has moved along. We have had 465 hours of hearings. I'm sorry, 465 witnesses, 190 hours of hearings. We've moved 65 bills through our committee, 46 have passed the House, and 27 have been signed into law by the President, including bills that this administration said they'd veto. They were signed. Now, you gave me your trust. You gave your trust to Dave Dill and Tom Bach, Dougie Johnson before that, Ron Dicklish, although this wasn't his district, but this was part of the great northern country. You sent us all to represent you in the legislature and to deliver on the needs of the people, and that's what we're doing. And when that bridge collapsed in Minneapolis, I happened to be on the House floor managing that Water Resources Development Act, $21 billion of projects. And my BlackBerry went off, and I pulled it out, and I saw the message about a bridge collapsed in Minneapolis. No, in a third world country, but not in Minnesota. I made the announcement on the House floor. And after the bill passed, after the final vote was taken, 381 to 40, I gathered my committee staff, sat down, and began drafting the emergency relief legislation. We had to lift the ceiling of $100 million per state. We had to lift the ceiling of $100 million per year in the emergency relief program. We had to provide funding for use of transit capital grant funds for operating funds so they could shift people from roadway to transit ways in the Twin Cities. Provide $250 million in 100% federal grant, not 80%, not 90%, but 100% federal grant. And in 48 hours, that bill was, the next morning I had a markup in my committee, reported the bill out of committee. We had to go to rules and get a special rule to take the bill up under a unique procedure called suspension of the rules. No amendments allowed. Bill has to pass by a 2/3 vote. We brought it up under that special rule. We had to clear it with the Senate because there were no senators in town. Anything could be stopped by unanimous consent. Got that cleared. And in 48 hours, delivered $250 million to the state of Minnesota. Now, I didn't hear anybody down there inside 494 complaining about Oberstar delivering $250 million for the Twin Cities, but they bitch and moan when we provide funding for projects like this up here in greater Minnesota. Well, I got news for them. I'm chairman. I'm staying. We're going to help. We're going to help you. We're going to help the Twin Cities. We're going to help greater Minnesota. We're going to help all of America. This is a great moment for Tower. Thank you all for coming out here today.
Thank you, Congressman Oberstar. I'd like to introduce you to Tom Bach right now for a few words.